Welcome to Sports Wrap Live, everybody. We are at Junction Bar and Grill, where you can catch all the sports action on over 40 flat screens right here in the Sports Wrap Lounge and around the Junction Bar, 160 West Gray, in the shadow of downtown Houston. Yes, and we're out here every Thursday night, 8 to 10 p.m., of course. Broadcast live here in Houston on Sports Talk 790 and around the world on the iHeartRadio app. Now, apparently the Rapp Pack had an interesting night last night.
Yeah,
and
you could say that again.
Yeah, absolutely. They were out there on the Rapp Pack field trip. Yes,
we got. We're
gonna hear more about that later on, for sure. Oh, I can't wait. We're gonna have to get Kadoma at the table before we get into that.
Oh, yeah.
But let's get right back into the NFL talk. We've got Brandon on the line. Brandon has a Super Bowl prediction, so. Let's bring him on right now. Brandon, how are you?
Hey, what's up, man?
It's good to hear your voice. Thanks for checking in on Sports Wrap Live. How do we sound out there?
Oh, man, that sounds good, man. I hear Rob in the background talking and everything, saying you speak. It's all good.
Excellent. All right, well, keep it clean for us. I'm curious to hear how you see this game on February 5th in Indianapolis going down.
Well, I'm going to go for the Giants.
Well, Wyo's in the house right now. Wyo is here.
Yeah, he knows me from Twitter and everything. We'll see Sunday.
He's going to see you, Wyo.
That's right. All right, so how do you see this game playing out? And give us a prediction on the score.
Man, on the score, I'm going to say it's going to be close. They're going to keep it close because you haven't watched games. The New York Giants got that killer defense. So they're going to put them in black over time.
Well, you know what? I'm glad you brought that up because this is a rematch, and I want to ask you, do you see this as a revenge game, or do you see this as motivation for Tom Brady? I'm going to ask Bun the same question, Brandon, after you answer, but do you see this more as a motivation for Tom Brady or a revenge factor?
Actually, it's motivation for them, but they got to watch Cruz, but he's going to be the one to go to the play.
All right, now Bun, thanks for calling in, Brandon. Thanks for checking in here on Sports Wrap Live, of course, every Thursday and Sunday, 8 to 10 p.m. We will take your calls live on air at 713-212-5790. And you better bring it, man, because there's a lot of sports heavy hitters here in the Sports Wrap Lounge here tonight. So, Bun, your thoughts on the question that I posed to Brandon.
Well, I think revenge does definitely play a factor in it. I mean, you've got the prior Super Bowl where basically Eli came in and lit him up, and then you look at the fact that Eli's playing better than he did in that Super Bowl this year, and keep in mind the fact that even Brady knows he played like doo-doo,
Yeah.
for lack of a better word. He played really bad. I mean, even to the point where he's going back, to the guy that he's been working with since high school, trying to improve on mechanics and whatnot. I mean, that's a lot going into the Super Bowl, being a guy tied with Joe Montana, which I think is a credit to him as an athlete, and a perfectionist, really wanting to give his best effort. And, I mean, why not? Let him do it, You'll regret it if you didn't and he lost. So I said let him do it. But revenge is a factor. And then, again, this guy's a perfectionist. I mean, I don't care who Tom Brady would have been playing against in the Super Bowl. He's going to want to win. I mean, just the fact that it's the Giants gives him a chance to replay something that he lost once. And, a guy like Tom Brady's not going to want to lose this thing again. 2 Super Bowls to the same team twice, I think would just be too much for Tom Brady to handle.
I don't know that I think it's revenge or one way or the other. I think for the players, when the game starts, that's not something they're thinking. I think it's more on the coaching staff. I think you give Belichick 2 weeks to kind of stew on this and come up with a game plan. I think it's going to give him it's the Super Bowl, Adam. You're going to be prepared. You're going to try your hardest. But I think he's going to give him that little edge, extra edge, and that coaching staff a little extra edge because they remember what happened last time.
And in all honesty, and I'm sure if Pete took his Giants jacket off, he would admit that the Giants caught some lucky breaks in that last game towards the end of the game.
Which game?
The last Super Bowl they played.
Dude, a guy caught a ball with his head.
With bubblegum.
Yeah. I mean, that David Tyree play was insane. Literally insane.
And I was going to say, I know you guys have been talking mostly about, I guess, the rematch, so to speak. I think it's a motivation, and as far as how he's been able to get basically it's one and done with them 2 times in a row, and I think them finally getting back to that does add some fuel to the fire. But I think also with the fact that haven't been able to make it to the big game, that's been a big killer for them. And that, and of course the stick'em with Tyree for sure on that.
Absolutely. Well, Bun, let me ask you this: does Tom Brady have to have a 350-yard, 4-touchdown game to beat this Giants team that's really hot right now?
That's a good question. To be honest, I think he's going to have to get pretty close. I believe that this is going to be, as I said last week, I think it's going to be a shootout. I think we've been hearing all year the defense, and you always hear that defense wins championships, and I think defense is, I don't think it's going to be a defensive party as it was for, say, the championship games, where you had a team like the Ravens in there, you had the 49ers in there, where you had defenses just playing lights out all 60 minutes. I think this one is going to be a quarterback's game. I think this is going to be it's going to be Brady versus Eli. And I do think that it's going to take 300 plus from either one of those guys to beat the other, quite frankly.
Well, Eli has a much better chance of doing that against the Patriots defense.
If history,
yeah,
repeats itself.
Well, yeah, and the defense has stepped up. I will say that.
And then there's no Gronk, too.
The Patriots
Gronk is day to day.
The Patriots are using Julian Edelman on defense. That fourth quarter, did you guys watch that?
Yeah.
At the end of that game, Baltimore figured out that defense pretty quickly. They're like, wherever Edelman is, let's throw it to whoever that guy is that's on him. Because Edelman couldn't keep up. I mean, this is really not a good defense for the Patriots. It's mostly just an offensive shootout, and the other team can't keep up. This Giants team can keep up. My only concern with the Giants offense, Adam, is last week, Eli stepped back in the pocket probably 60 times, and they only got 20 points out of it. Now, that's a credit to the 49ers defense as well, but, the Giants are going to have to pick it up because they're going to have to score more than 20 points to win this game.
All right, well, what are our keys to victory for the Patriots to get Tom Brady his 4th Super Bowl ring?
I think the keys to the Patriots to win is offensive line. They have to control the line of scrimmage. If they're going to be able to run the ball a little bit, they don't have to do it a lot, but run the ball a little bit, because that's basically how the Giants won the last Super Bowl, is getting after Tom Brady, making him uncomfortable in the pocket and rushing his throws. That's not the same Tom Brady whenever he doesn't have enough time. No one is. Any good quarterback is a good quarterback because of his offensive line. I think that's one of the biggest, because that's the Giants' biggest strength on defense, is that front four, because if they can get that pressure, they don't have to blitz.
Yeah, I was going to add to that. No, you're absolutely right, because it was definitely apparent with the Ravens game. When they weren't able to hold down that D, that pass rush was a monster, and you could tell it was shaking them up real bad. I would add to that Wes Welker will have to be a big factor. And then because Gronkowski's day to day, you don't know if he's going to be at 80 or 90 or 100%, but Wes Welker's going to have to step up and be the go-to guy.
Well, hey, the Super Bowl, of course, as you know, is being played in Indy, in the house that Peyton built, per se, the Lucas Oil retractable dome stadium there. But it just doesn't feel like Peyton's house anymore, as the dark days have finally come. Number 18, the writing's on the wall.
They have to get rid of him. And I don't want to. I maybe shouldn't use the term "get rid of him," but they have to let him go, because this team has to be rebuilt. This roster, Adam, forget about trying to keep up with New England or the Pittsburghs, the perennial teams that are in the playoffs. You got to keep up with the Texans. This is a young roster that's on the rise. So they need to. For a while, it was the Texans trying to make them a draft towards beating the Colts. Now it's going to be the Colts trying to draft and figuring out ways to beat the Texans. So it's going to be them rebuilding that defense that has never been good, and them getting Andrew Luck in the fold. Because Adam, they can't pay both guys. It's just too much money to commit to Peyton Manning. You just paid him $25 million last season to sit on the sideline.
I think his days in blue and white are numbered.
I think they are over.
And Bun, do you see Peyton coming back? Of course, he doesn't even have the clean bill of health yet, but the greats have pretty much all gone on to other teams and either made a playoff appearance or basically made the worst team halfway decent.
I'll be honest. With or without this injury this year, had the Colts not literally gone to the Super Bowl and won the Super Bowl, I think this conversation would still be taking place right now. I think that, regardless of whether or not he had the neck injury, that the Patriots were looking at a situation like, hey, if this guy doesn't take us all the way this year, then we're probably going to have to start our search for looking elsewhere, And again, it's nothing against Peyton. It's just the fact that this is what this team's going to need. Even if Peyton would have came back healthy, this was not a guaranteed season for this team. Maybe 10-6, 11-5 possibly, with luck. But that being said, I mean, Peyton Manning and the Colt team that they have right now cannot compete with the other people in their division, much less people, when it gets to the big dogs in these championship and playoff games. They've just got to start looking towards rebuilding this entire Colts team. It's a bigger problem than Peyton in Indianapolis right now.
I think it's an opportunity for Peyton too. He can go to a team that can be on the fringe maybe of winning something and he can be in the playoffs and maybe in the Super Bowl next season if he goes to a different team. If he stays with the Colts, that's not going to be a Super Bowl caliber team next year. I think it's a big opportunity for him, Adam.
Who do you think has the number one shot if he landed there right now to have a shot at the Super Bowl?
I think Miami has been searching for that Super Bowl quarterback for a long, long time. Since Marino, they haven't had. I mean, Matt Moore's not terrible, but that's a team that they find. This Miami team gave a lot of teams fits at the end of the season, Adam. The Redskins, I think that team is just poorly managed with the way Dan Snyder kind of tries to meddle with the team too much. I don't think the Jets are a good fit for him for the locker room. I think Miami would be an interesting fit for him.
I'd like to see him with the Jets. I think it would be a good fit because I don't think that the Reed we saw this year is going to be the same Reed next year. I think he's going to have to take a big look at, the character that he's been portraying and, all this wild talk. I think he's going to have to this team is going to have to really get down to just playing football next year. And, I mean, Mark's not their guy. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Mark is not their guy. But even still, if they were to get Peyton, it still doesn't change the fact that they've got 2-3 years with Peyton, and they've still got to invest in another quarterback.
Well, we got a whole nother week to talk about the Super Bowl, of course, and we're going to have a big Super Bowl party broadcast right here at Junction Bar and Grill on Sunday, February 5th. I cannot wait.
Sunday.
Yes, Monster Truck Show is right around the corner,
Go ahead and ask for Monday off because we're going to go ham.
Oh, man. We are. That's for sure. We're going to be out here
Honey baked
all
style,
day.
baby.
We'll have
Honey
the
baked.
games on live, and you guys can call in right after the Super Bowl. Hopefully, it'll be over before 10 o'clock because we are on air from 8 to 10 p.m. And make sure you guys check out Charlie Palillo's Super Bowl special that day on Sports Talk 790. All right, we got to go to break. When we come back, ladies and gentlemen, Kadoma's in the building from the H-Town Sneaker Summit, along with Premium Pete, Bun B, and the whole Rapp Pack. We'll be right back here on Sports Rap Live.
Rapp Pack.